All right, we have our experts, all four, and they're going to give you their cues, what they're doing right now. Let's start with, I have SV Prasad out there, I think on Skype today. SV, what are you doing?
Oh, waiting and watching, and I was just, while I was hearing you, I was also looking at my computer in terms of, how some of my stocks have done, I don't track markets minute to minute, but they've obviously done well. SB has benefited from demonetization, HPCL, BPCL benefiting from, government continuing to allow petrol to be paid by cash. I think more on a macro basis, I think there's a lot of fundamental shifts happening in the global markets. For instance, Trump is going to correct this monetary policy being given too much of importance, correcting with a little bit of fiscal balance. Because as a student of economics, and if one were to look at factors of production, now pricing of money, capital, has been completely out of whack since the 2008 financial meltdown. Now that needs correction. I'm not saying do an overnight correction, because that will have, a huge impact, adverse impact across the globe. But surely you can't have just money being printed and you see asset price inflation across the globe, especially in the emerging markets. So I see that getting corrected, and more method to the madness what the traditional economists used to talk about, and that has a lot of implications, and India is going to come out smelling roses when this correction happens. Therefore, I think this is great times, and a lot of the MNC stocks also is a good time to look at some of the stocks like a Lever or a Procter & Gamble, Colgate, etc. One has to keep track of these stocks because there will definitely be an impact because of temporary impact because of the demonetization that's going on. And that will be good opportunity to buy some of these stocks. They are still expensive, no doubt, but one should closely look at those stocks. I think, therefore, all in all, a very interesting time in the markets, and a little bit of a shift towards more fundamental-driven markets rather than just liquidity-driven markets.
All right, SV, I'm going to come back to you, and Shrikant Shetty is here with us also. Shrikant, what are you doing? What are you buying?
I think as of now it's a wait and watch mode, more of a market where we still have a lot of uncertainties. We're still watching how things are playing out at the ground level. So a lot of uncertainties in place where we know discretionary consumption is going to get hit. So a lot of stocks which we like probably are going to see fundamental negatives in the immediate short term. Having said that, any trading calls which we take at this point of time is going to be a bit of a risky bets and meant for brave hearts. So, but given that we're looking to pick some, I picked a couple of stocks here. One is HCL Tech, where I think the valuations remain fairly attractive, and probably a large part of it remains unaffected with what's happening around today. So, from a trading perspective, looking at HCL Tech is one of them. So, I also a technology pack per se, the sector might see a bit of negative because of the overall guidance or the sectoral growth being lower. But I think valuations have corrected a lot, and that does appear to be valued here. So that's HCL Tech, the first one. The other thing where consumption is definitely getting hit, but I think stock like Jubilant Foods has corrected a lot, and I think it looks attractive for long-term investors. Also from a trading perspective, I think a pullback till about 930 looks possible. So these are a couple of trades which I'm looking at.
All right, so those are the calls from Shrikant Shetty with the rider. And I think this is a rider, I guess all our experts will give you today, that there's so much uncertainty in the market that if you want to trade right now, if you want to take these short-term calls, you have to be a brave heart. All right, let me get Mr. Amar Singh in. What are you doing, Mr. Amar Singh?
Yeah, very good morning. We've seen extreme volatility over the last few weeks, and post the US presidential election results, and that's continuing. And however, the global markets, the US markets have been doing extremely well, but we've seen selling pressure in our markets. So as far as strategies are concerned, the first is buy on Power Grid. One can buy because it still has maintained its uptrend, and it still is strong technically. So one can look at buying Power Grid in the region of 186 to 187 with a stop loss of 182.50 and a target of 195. The next is on the sell side, that is ITC. We've seen a crack in ITC post the news coming in about the banning of FDI. in the tobacco sector. So that's actually, and prior to that also we were seeing selling pressure in ITC, and there still is a strong downtrend. So any pullback towards 232 to 234 can be used as a shorting opportunity with a stop loss of 237 and a target of 224. And the third is Ambuja Cement, because Ambuja Cement also we've seen a significant correction from almost 280 levels, and it's currently trading lower. So any pullback towards 204, 206 can be used as a shorting opportunity with a stop loss of 209 and a target of 197. We do need to remember that the markets, since the markets are in oversold territory, there could be a pullback, but that's going to, whether it is last like yesterday's, we'll have to watch out for. So majorly we could see some consolidation going forward, with major levels of support for Nifty to be watched out around 8,000 levels.
All right. We also have with us Gaurav Bissa. Gaurav, are you buying, selling, staying put? What are you doing right now?
Good morning. I totally agree that it's going to be a lot of volatility for next few trading sessions. We are at very crucial levels near the long-term averages, and the kind of positions that we are seeing getting built, I think the market is going to be very, very volatile. So based on that, I have to buy and to sell recommendations. Among the positive ones, I would recommend going long on Pidilite for target of 650, having a stop loss of 615, good amount of short covering for by fresh longs. Secondly, buy on TVS Motors, a little bit of higher levels, around 358, one can go long, have a stops of 353 for targets of 370. Among the short names, ITC, consistent short positions given a breakdown yesterday, target of 220 with the stop losses at 234, and final recommendation would be sell on RCOM. Strong short positions getting built. We have seen short rolls for last two series. It's given a breakdown again, so 34 can be seen on the stock. Having a stop loss of 40, one can go short.
Okay. Just want to quickly take your call on ITC. What is the target? Could you repeat that as well? You're selling ITC. What is your target and stop loss? If you could just repeat.
Target of 220, stop loss of 234.
All right. Okay. So target there on ITC 220, and you had a sell call on RCOM as well.
Yes, consistent short positions. I think it can head towards 34 and stop loss of 40.
All right. Stop loss 40, and the target is 34. This is a sell call. Sweet, we all knew there's black money, but no one wants to talk about how it's actually going to be turned into white. One of the things that anecdotally we are hearing is that people are going to their staff, their domestic help, and saying that here is 2.5 lakh rupees. You keep 50,000, put it in your bank, and in about 6 months return it to me. Take it out gradually and return it to me. We are one of our reporters who's just reporting from a village in outside Delhi is saying that there are people who the local Mahajan, the Sahukar, is giving loan with old notes for free, no interest. You take this loan, go and deposit it, give it back whenever you want to. Now, we have been reporting like everyone else that there are people in queues, there are wage workers who are affected, but a lot of poor people are going to end up being quite rich, richer suddenly, because of the way in which a part of this black money is going to turn into white. And I wonder whether we are overstating the kind of decline in consumption that's going to take place.
Yeah, in fact, what you say is right. To give I mean, this is a lovely example you gave. To give a city example, I was listening to a speech given by somebody who advises that I think he's also on the board of Kishore Piani's company. And apparently, the first 2 days they saw a steep fall in sales, Big Bazaar, almost 50-60%. But then they started focusing a lot more on the debit cards, and most people who go to Big Bazaar would be having debit cards, and lo and behold, the sales turned around to up of 30%. I frankly think this whole thing is getting a little overplayed. Yes, there is certainly there was inconvenience in the first few days, and what I tell people is, look, it's a bit of a rhetoric I'm using, but still, look, if you want major reform, you have to absorb some pain. I mean, we have been saying that big reform, only incremental things are happening, and suddenly the government decides to do a mega reform. And when it comes to us, we are saying, look, we are not going to do our bit. I think that's not fair. I went to my bank on Saturday myself just to check out, because I had a little bit of 500,000 lying with me. The whole thing took about an hour or so, or even less. and I followed the queue. It's not that I was jumping the queue or trying to,
They recognized you, SV. Surely they recognized you.
no.
Because they didn't recognize me and I was in the queue for 3.5 hours. Let me tell you.
I'm an early bird. I went very early. I went half an hour before the bank opened. So if you see, what I've been telling consistently people is go half an hour, 45 minutes, before the ATM opens or the bank opens. So if you're going to go 2 hours after the bank opens,
many of them are going the previous evening. And we just got a report from a bank on the outskirts of Delhi where people have queued up from 7 p.m. The bank, I think by now would have opened. So there are those queues as well, but I get your point that you're making, that you'll have to take some pain to make this big reform. I'm going to come back to all these things and I'm going to talk about what the short-term impact is, because I know we talk about the long term, but people watch us for the short term. Let us be very clear about that. The markets are going to open in just a few seconds, and the Nifty closed on pre-open in the red. Let's see what happens. All right, so it has opened in the red as well, 8105. So again, I'm just going to read out what is happening. BHEL is up 1.5%. Bharti Infratel 1.3% up at the moment. Tata Power graphics will come on in just a second, but you can see that the Nifty has actually opened about just marginally 0.3 points in the red. We expected it to move closer to the pivot, which is at about 81.37, but that has not happened. Now in the green, the Nifty has come back into the green. The big changes right now is, as I said, BHEL 1.5% up, Tata Power 1.3% up, Tech Mahindra up about 1%, Bharti Infratel 0.8% up, Tata Motors making another day of comeback, 0.8% up, HUL, this is something that SBI was pointing out, is up 0.8%, SBI in the green again on SB Prasad's buy list. Hindalco is flattish but in the green. Now it's gone into the red. Axis Bank up 0.9%. Bank of Baroda up 0.5%. Coal India down 0.8%. Tata Power up 1.2%. We're seeing some buying come in gradually. Tata Motors, as I mentioned. Let me see which are the biggest losers on the Nifty. And Dr. Reddy's is down 1.7%. We were expecting a big cut on ITC, but that has not happened. It's just 0.4% down. So it's not still happened. Yesterday it was down 2.8%. Ambuja Cements now has become the biggest loser. So 1.5% down, 1.6% down on Ambuja Cement. Z Entertainment down about 1%. Power Grid now down 1.3%. It opened just about 0.5% down, but that's being extended right now in terms of the losses. Coal India up down about 0.8%. Now let's quickly take a look. We had about 2 minutes for trades to take place, and we're going to now take the top 50 stocks by turnover, which is the price, the total money that's flowing into there in terms of, and we're going to pull up the ones which have the maximum gains. Bajaj Finserv, and this is what I guess a lot of people were talking about, that the savage correction that took place over 2 days in the NBFC space because of demonetization. Now a lot of people are starting to feel that perhaps that was unnecessary. So Bajaj Finserv again up 3%. Yesterday it was up 3.5%. Shriram Transport Finance, it lost in just 2 days. It had lost 14%. Yesterday it went up 1.7%. Today up about 2.2% on very high volumes and high turnover. Arvind Limited, that's up 2% at the moment. It gained yesterday as well, but 2 days the losses were 15%. So it's recouped only about 3% of it. Marico is up 2% up at the moment, and again Marico had lost about 10% in 2 days. Yesterday it was up 3.5%. So a part of those gain losses are being recouped there. I just want to quickly take a look at what is happening in terms of the biggest losers. Yesterday we mentioned that there was a PTI report that the cabinet has been moved, which will ban FDI in tobacco altogether. Godfrey Phillips is down 6% right now. Yesterday it sold off 18%. So yesterday there was a 17.5% drop, and today the losses continue, 5.7% right now. Volta's numbers were weakish. Its top line was weak. It has improved in terms of its profits, but that top line, low top line has kind of made it sold out. Bajaj Finance, its made a big comeback yesterday. It lost about 13% in 2 days and then made a huge comeback yesterday of 10%. So effectively demonetization, it was down about 3%, perhaps the lowest losers since demonetization took place, and Bajaj Finance today is lost a bit of ground. So that's the broad picture we're getting from the top turnover space. Let's just pull up the Nifty now. It's moved closer as we expected to the pivot, 8131 on the Nifty, and some buying has come in. I think right after people were watching out how it will open. It opened reasonably low, so some people have bought in, and we are seeing that spike that it's moved up straight to the day high of 8136.7. This is exactly what we had said in the morning. 8137 should be, which is the first, it's just the pivot of the day, which should become the resistance, and that is what we're seeing happening on the Nifty. All right, let me get Mr. Shetty in. What kind of impact do you see in terms of as cash disappears from the market? The reason I'm asking this is that a lot of smaller businessmen, they deal with the informal sector, so they have cash. That cash need not be black entirely. Some of it will be black, some of it will not be black. You get kacha bills, and that is part of the business. Everyone does that, and suddenly that money, you're holding that money, it has come as a big blow to you. You'll need time to go back and put that money back and deposit it. Is there going to be a cash crunch that the SME space is going to face for the next 100 odd days?
So that's what is possible. That's the reason why there is so much uncertainty, because the cash has to come back into circulation. As of now, it's a bit choked up. People are not it's not there. The cash for spending is not there. For the expenses is not there. So it's a bit difficult scenario. Clearly, it's getting affected. The business is getting affected. But as long as the pain is short-lived, I think the markets would take it in stride. If it gets prolonged, if it's not get handled very well, I think then it's a bigger concern. So I think the market is pricing in the fact that it will take in the 15-20 days or even a bit of 1 quarter of write-off in terms of numbers for most of the companies will happen. So we are already seeing sales for, let's say, Bajaj Auto, which announced today that 50-60% inquiries down, sales down. So we are seeing that happening from the day the demonetization has been announced. So I think that is what is getting factored in. But if it gets prolonged, then I think there is a case for worry.
Okay, let me get Mr. Amar Singh in on a few technical calls here. Power grid, what is your view on that?
Power grid, as I said, that power grid, we have a buy call on power grid.
You already have a buy call on power grid. Balrampur Chini, do you track that?
Yeah, just once.
While you look at it, let me just go across to Gaurav, who's looking closely at his monitor. Gaurav, the Nifty move that you see right now, what does it indicate to you?
Well, we have seen some amount of short covering already, and I would be a little bit disappointed if we are not holding to the current levels, because if we again have a close below 8120, 8110 spot levels, then the levels of 8000 in next couple of trading sessions would likely be seen. So I'm just looking, I'm a little bit skeptical. A market needs a momentum, and I'm just looking at these names or stocks which can give a strong push to Nifty. So probably if the names like Infosys and TCS, if these sustain, then there's a chance that Nifty may see some amount of upside today itself. If 8120 is held today, we may head towards 8180 levels on an intraday basis, strictly intraday basis, which if held, if we are closing above those levels, then another 50-60 points upside by tomorrow can be seen. If not, then probably Nifty will stick in a range of 8150, 8160 on the upper end, and on the lower end we can see the levels of somewhere around 8000.
Somewhere around 8,000. But do you think that fresh shorts will build up if it moves towards 8,200?
I think they will be built up before that as well. Yesterday it was a very good chance for Nifty to sustain those levels. The moment Nifty opened, we have started seeing unwinding, and then as the day progressed, we saw good amount of short positions in many of the stock futures and which command a good amount of percentage in Nifty. So something like HDFC Bank that saw some amount of short futures getting built. ITC toward the end of trading session, it saw some short positions getting built. So on that front, I am expecting some fresh shorts to be built at a little bit of higher levels. At these levels, probably Nifty might see a yo-yo kind of move, but at a little bit higher levels, we may see some pressure coming in.
All right, let me go back to Mr. Amar Singh. Sir, did you get a chance to look at Balrampur Chini?
Yeah, overall, looking at Balrampur Chini, it's currently around 113 levels, and you can say that it's completely trading flat. On the upside, you have 120 to 125 as a major level of resistance, and on the downside, 105 is a key level of support. So, because we've seen some extreme volatility in Balrampur Chini over the last couple of days, so we can say that there is no trend right now in the short term. So it's more or less a range bound trade. On the upside 120 to 125, and at the downside 105 is a major level of support.
So there's not enough for you to actually do a trade there. All right, two more things that I have for you, Mr. Singh. One is Corporation Bank and the other is Bank of Baroda. What's your take on those? Again, I'll give you 2-3 minutes. I'll just go across to SV Prasad and come back to you. I'll give you some time to just look at those charts and tell us what you think about it. SV, you know, the same question that I was asking Shrikant, that smaller businesses often operate in cash, and a lot of it is cash which is actually taken out from a bank, but you pay it to someone in an informal sector who does not necessarily go out and declare it in their accounts. We all know that black money didn't come out because there were people who wanted to create black money. Black money exists because there are bureaucrats, politicians, political parties, policemen who take bribes. So you generate cash, you give that cash, and then you say, okay, everyone's taking cash, so I might as well keep some cash myself. So this entire process is going to be curtailed. It'll start pretty soon, because yesterday 2 people were caught in Gujarat with 2.9 lakhs worth of bribe in 2,000 rupee notes. So it'll start again, but it'll get curtailed for at least a quarter. What happens to these smaller businesses, especially to SMEs?
See, I frankly think that this is just beginning of the moves, because the Prime Minister has been consistently saying that he's going to be really attacking, and in all fairness to him, he's taken a number of steps. Right. He talked about Jandan. He's asked people to come clean, pay 45% of whatever tax rate, and declare undeclared income by 30th September. So it's not that it's a sudden surprise he has done. So I think that one can expect a lot more to come from his side. I would put it as watch this space, and I think a time is now coming on which also GST coming in. I think businesses are going to be more and more legit. Everybody has to get used to it. Now, what you say is right, but on the other hand, I'm sure you're also getting WhatsApp pictures of even small sabjiwalas who are now saying that we are now willing to accept, debit cards and credit cards. Right. For instance, even people like drivers, servants are saying that why don't you credit my account directly? So this kind of a change is going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but clearly the signal that's coming is, look, you better be clean now. And I think that's good. That message is going to go right through the system.
So my question to you was, because we are on a business channel which turns up every day and has to say something new, I want to know what happens in the short run.
Lot of pain. See, I tell all people, I'm sorry, I'm sounding a little populistic. Now, our freedom fighters, they sacrifice their lives, 30 plus, 40 plus years of their careers, Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, and so many people. Now, if we have a pain for 2-3 months, you mean to say we can't absorb this pain? I mean, give me a break here. I mean, so much of noise is being made in every channel, every place. Now, I am saying, look, I mean, frankly, a privileged lot compared to our, our fathers and our grandfathers. Right. A little bit of pain, we can't take it. And I think, let's go legit. Am I able to sleep at night peacefully? I think that's my yardstick. I'm sorry, I got a little emotional on this.
No, it's good television. I always encourage these things, SV, so don't be sorry about it at all. All right, Mr. Amar Singh, you should be ready by now with your views on Corporation Bank and Bank of Baroda. What do you think?
Yeah, overall, as I had said earlier also, it's the public sector banks which have been performing extremely well, and as far as Bank of Baroda is concerned, It's currently around 160, 176, 177. The trend is definitely up for Bank of Baroda. And on the upside, yes, 178 to 180 would be a level of resistance. And on the downside, 170 to 172 would be a level of support. Yes, once 180 is taken out, then we could see a next phase of rally in Bank of Baroda. So the trend is definitely up. So any correction should be used as a buying opportunity. As far as Corporation Bank is concerned, it's currently around 46, 47 levels. And again, the trend is up for this PSU bank as well. The upside could be initially 49 to 50 levels, whereas the support is somewhere around 45. So if one looks at buying, one should look at buying towards 45 levels or so. And a target
while
could be
you're
around
speaking,
50.
it has already hit 49, so it's 48.80 right now. So while you were speaking, it already happened. It went to that level that you were talking about. All right, we'll have to take a break, gentlemen. And before I let you go, I just need to take your disclosures. So let me start with Shrikant Shetty.
Yeah, we would have recommended the stocks to our clients, but no personal positions.
All right, SV.
State Bank of India and HPCL, you know, both of which I mentioned when I spoke earlier.
Mr. Amar Singh.
Yeah, some of our clients could be holding positions in these stocks that I have spoken about. I personally don't hold any positions.
All right, finally Gaurav Bissa.
No personal holdings in the stocks discussed today, but it is possible we may have recommended the same to our clients, LLKP.
All right, thank you gentlemen for joining us. Pleasure talking to you. Okay, we're going to take a short break, and after that Vibhav Kapoor, Group CIO at ILNFS, joins us. And